Selena, I'll be right away.
You should say you can. Oh, I see. Like that. When I do, let's just say.
And just let me give you some information. We actually did receive an invoice from More Business Results that we're going to be adding onto the agenda. And then we did receive an email from the Elections Committee Chair, Tony Buttka. And I think you were also sent a copy of that documentation as well. And that just asked us to add on some of the items with regard to the receipts and invoices, which of course we always add on information. We don't deny that information when they're asked by the committees. So that information was provided here to be added into and a request for this information to be added onto the agenda to the Elections Committee.
Okay, and I saw that the proper paperwork went out.
Right. Well, yeah, the proper
I'm
paperwork.
gonna go around and start painting those utility booths. Okay? Hey, I'm a starving artist today. Starting today.
Well, you saw the receipts, you saw the invoices.
I want to paint.
Wasn't that $1,601? Did you see $1,601? That's what I saw. So.
My friend here, her son's going to school to be a graphic artist, and he draws really good. I said, you know what, you better go take him to the neighborhood council and Mechanites, where he could go start paying utility poles.
I know, it's amazing.
God,
I saw the receipt that was for $1,601. Hi, what are you doing here? What a surprise! How are you? How are you doing?
Yeah,
nice to meet you, Oscar. Please come in.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Well, we're gonna go. We're actually waiting for a third person to show up, part of the executive committee, so we can get started on the agenda.
Hi. Hi, Wanda.
Hi, and her husband,
So does Selena say she's on her way?
She has nothing.
That's great, that's good.
What? You surprised what?
That you're here?
Listen to me.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. We're just waiting for a third person. We have to have a quorum in order to start.
Got it.
Other than that, if we don't have a quorum, then it's up to the chair to create an agenda for the upcoming meeting.
This is for the...
Did you want to sign in on the sign sheet?
Oh, yeah.
Please, would you
You want to
please?
sign it?
Yes, please. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good.
Beautiful. I'm Ostilo.
sign it, Linda?
Yes, I'm the campaign director.
Excellent.
Communication.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for being here.
Did you guys sign in too?
Oh, okay. So you didn't put me that for...
Yes, yes, I remember you called me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, I thought you were coming Sunday.
No, I was actually out of town this weekend, so it's kind of difficult for me to make it to a lot of things on the weekends these days. So, come on in. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up?
Good. How's it going?
What's going on?
We'll keep it short. I promise. We'll stick to the agenda.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Mark? How you doing?
We're going to go ahead and get started. It's 5 minutes after 7, and we do have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
Hey.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. So,
Okay.
yes, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, for those executive committee members that are here, please note that there are agendas in front of you, and there's a reference copy of a proposed agenda for the March 16th.
March 16th.
General Community Stakeholders Meeting. As I explained to Linda Sanchez, we have received various documentation. Oh, March 15th, so it's got to be March 15th. Yes, March 15th, my apologies. We did receive documentation which was emailed to all the executive committee members for items to be added onto the agenda. I know that Linda received them, as well as I'm sure you did as well, Mark. So those are just to affirm that we did receive them, and we will be adding those items onto the agenda. Okay. Welcome and introductions. Let me just say, if anybody would like to speak, please fill out a speaker card. It's over here on the table. Please grab an agenda. Please sign in on the sign-in sheet. Each speaker has 2 minutes. We try to get through these executive committee meetings as fast as possible because we're basically here to set the agenda for the upcoming general board meetings. Okay? So we can't entertain any discussion or dialogue. We take input and information from stakeholders that are present and or executive committee members. So Now that we're going to move forward with this. Welcome introductions. My name is Bradley. I am the GPNC chair. I want to welcome you to the March 1st Joint Board and Executive Committee meeting for the Glassell Park Neighborhood Council. To my right is...
I'm Linda Sanchez, and I'm the Area 1 rep for Fletcher Square.
And I'm Mark Quiros, the Vice Chair of the GPNC and the Area 2 representative.
Excellent. And so let it be known that there is a quorum. Our executive committee consists of 5 officers. We need a majority of the 5, which is 2 plus 1, which is 3, and we have 3 here. Why don't we go ahead and continue on with the introductions? To my right, sir, you are whom?
I'm Ted Purcell.
Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for being here. Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth Burgueño.
Thanks for being here.
Teresa Olivas.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you again, Wanda.
Oscar Burgueño.
Yes, her husband.
Heather Thomas.
Nice to see you. Brett Thomas. Thank you so very much. And, sir? Your name?
The Ostillo Campaign and Communications Director for Ted Purcell.
Excellent.
And that's the candidate for Governor of California 2018.
Excellent. Thanks for being here. And last but not least?
Brian Frobisher, live in Area 4, but I'm an alternate on the board.
Thanks for being here.
Neighborhood Council.
Okay, official public comment. I don't know of any officials that are in attendance here. You can choose to speak at this time if you'd like, sir.
I'll say a couple words.
Okay, please do.
Should I stand or sit or?
Either way, we're very informal.
Would you like me to
Very
dance on the
informal.
tabletop or something?
That could
Boy,
work.
I'm dressed a little casual.
That's
I'm
okay.
wearing a
Very
hat, my hair's a
informal.
mess, but,
Very informal.
born and raised, grew up in California, been a nominee for Congress, did a lot of work with the Kennedys over the years. You remember Bobby, you remember Jack, you remember Ted and all them, and did a lot of work with Kathleen Kennedy Townsend. Served on the U.S. Senate Leadership Circle, National Finance Council. I'm running for governor 2018 because I think with Jerry stepping down, I think we need some changes in this great state. I'm all about changes. I've been a builder and developer of shopping centers, built a lot of projects, made and lost many millions across the country. I'm not a Donald Trump. I'm an independent Democrat. And people ask me, where do you stand on the issues? I say, well, think about Dr. Martin Luther King. Think about Cesar Chavez. I was a Rotary Scholar to India. I did work with Mother Teresa in Calcutta. Made 5 trips around the world, been in 74 countries. I've seen a lot of suffering around the world, and I see suffering in our great state of California, which I've been born and raised in. Come from a small family farm. Mother raised in a Catholic orphanage, my dad on a farm. I'm about people, I'm about education, I'm about kids. I want education to be the #1 education state or community in the world. I think we should have the best teachers and the best schools. I've been speaking to the colleges and the campuses. I was at LA City College, LACC, 20,000 students, and just to let you know, some people laugh at me and say, oh, that can't be. They have no food services on that campus. 20,000 students, no food service. They have 1 food truck that comes to that campus. No cafeteria for 20,000 students.
And neither do they have any sports program.
No sports program. No football, no basketball, nothing. We gave a speech down at San Diego State, a beautiful campus. Oh, gorgeous. And I think we need a better mix of students, whether they're Latino or blacks, and we need fair opportunities for people. So I'm about jobs. I'm about bringing opportunities to California. So I have a website. It's a grassroots campaign. It's humble, not millionaires in this campaign. It's going to be going out to people, and we're going to go to all 58 or so counties, all the cities. We're going to go to all the campuses, all the schools, and we're going to have a real go at it. So it's 2018. We're starting early.
Excellent. And
we're here to say hello to you, and we hope you'll look at the website. It's a very beginning website, www.techpurcell4governor on the cards. And that's a little bit about me. I won't take up your meeting time, but thank you for the...
Thank you so very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. A public comment. We've got Brian Frobisher, please.
Yeah, I have a question. I'd like to get on the agenda about the website. I'd like to have an open discussion about having people on the neighborhood council do the website. Probably 90% of the work is it's only a WordPress website, and we should be able to have people on the neighborhood council do a lot of the work that we're being charged. Like, I don't know, some of the bills are $300 a month, and it seems like we could put that money somewhere else. So I'd like to have an open discussion. I'd like to add on the agenda about the website and having Glassell Park neighborhood council people populate it. And then the other thing is, and I'm not sure what this is, I'm not just doing it to be complaining, but this meeting I think should be posted outside on the board, outside by the pool, and it's not. I see the canceled meeting, I see general stakeholders meeting, and I think that's one of the required posting spots.
I didn't
And
even
it's
see
not
that.
out there.
Who's supposed to be putting everything
That
there?
would
So
be
I don't
something.
know if this meeting should even be happening. So,
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to move
Okay,
forward.
I think Selena's having some medical problems, so we're gonna have to find out what's, if she's
yeah, but
gonna
the
be
Brown
able to
Act, I'm
continue
just
or
saying the
not.
Brown
No, no,
Act
no, I'm just
rules
saying,
are,
we're
if
gonna
your
see if she
agenda
has,
calls for
if she's gonna
spot.
be able to continue or
Okay.
not. Because if not, we need to fill it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
Because we need somebody that's functioning every
Yeah.
meeting.
But it
I
should be
understand.
there. So.
Thank you very
I see,
much.
I
Okay.
understand you could say.
Thank you very much. And we see here is Thomas Soon here. Please, sir, you're probably at that time where we are talking about public and official comments. Did you just want to just sit by and monitor, or did you want to say something, or?
I got two things for the agenda coming up. If you guys wanted to,
We can definitely, we're going to go, what we usually do is basically the executive committee can only establish agenda items. We can't open it up for discussion.
sure,
We are really about just setting the agenda.
sure.
And so definitely if you'd like something to be added to the agenda, as Mr. Frobisher has done, we're happy to add that item, or you can choose to wait after we go through our main agenda.
Let you guys
and
go first. Then.
move forward. Okay. Anybody else? I believe we have one more speaker, and I believe that is Elizabeth. Yay! And again, we're very informal here, so please, by all means.
Yes, my name is Elizabeth Burgueño, and I have a child home-based daycare here in the community. And I've been here fighting for that, for the community, for our children to have this play area. I applied for a grant, and they told me after the fact that the papers weren't filled out right. Then after they agreed to give Plaza Community Services, a nonprofit organization, the grant for the play area, they told us that because there was differences in the committee, that wouldn't be allowed. So I'm here to fight for the children. They're our future. They're going to be here long after we're gone. And I want that to be placed in the agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to speak that didn't fill out a speaker card? Go ahead, sir. Got 2 minutes?
Sure.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege for us to be here, and we'd like to have an opportunity to address the community and hold a big event where we will put out our agenda before the people, and also at the same time hear what are the issues that are affecting them on a day-to-day basis. And the two main things that attracted me to this community, we don't live here.
Right.
Yeah. But we noticed that there is an exercise to take out all the graffiti, and also there is another one where you guys have planted trees, and so I've been following that very closely with Hector and Mitchell Farrell's office. So we would love to come and address the community. We just came back from San Diego, and Monday we are going to Santa Monica College. And just now we came from downtown LA, Skid Row, and yeah, there was a march, you might see it on the news, protesting police brutality. And this ties in with gun violence. So that's one of the major issues we'd love to address, particularly with people that are more vulnerable to, getting shot, kids. We saw a lot of kids on those posters. Yeah, that have been killed by police, and there's no accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think definitely, if you don't mind me interrupting, we do have an outreach and communications committee chairperson, and if I may possibly forward to you her contact information so that you can work something out for some type of community town hall meeting or some type of neighborhood council group meeting, then I think that would be the best way. We try to do most of our work in committees and allow them to take on their authoritative positions to help facilitate the needs of the community and the residents and those that are interested, and then bring it to the board.
Wonderful.
And I'm happy to take that on and do that for you tomorrow morning, if you don't mind.
I appreciate that. Now, in the same token,
Because we do have 2 minutes.
great.
Right.
I want to take up. If we want to go into Echo Park as well, do we go through the same office or that's a different entity?
The Glassell Park Neighborhood Council specifically is around the certified boundaries of Glassell Park. Echo Park is its own separate community, therefore has its own separate neighborhood council.
All right.
Now it's in this Council District 13 area, so you definitely would want to talk to Mitchell O'Farrell's office and see who the contact person is for Echo Park Elysian.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else would like to speak? Okay. So we're going to move on with the agenda, folks. Any board member comment? Anything that the executive board members would like to discuss?
I don't know how to go about this, Friday, but there's been we've had some crime in the neighborhood. Like I was a witness to one at the gas station, the new Chevron.
Oh yes.
They stabbed a gentleman in the neck, and I believe he died. I see nothing about it in the news. There was another crash right here on Avenue 31 and Eagle Rock Boulevard. The car literally was upside down. They had to cut it open, and the girl that was stuck in the car, she lived in the house right in that corner.
Oh my.
And there was nothing about that on the news. I'm wondering why is there no news coverage, or why are we the people knowing? Why aren't we informed about what's going on?
Well, I think definitely
We need
this.
to talk to the police.
Well, that's-
we haven't had nobody from the
And-
police station come down here.
And then, yes, right, you're right,
And
we
we
have.
hear.
And what I'll do is I will make a special call into Northeast Division LAPD. As you know, they just had their recent opening, so they are in total disarray. And so,
Our fault.
Well,
and
you know
I'm
what?
serious.
Everywhere else, Echo Park, this
Right.
park, everywhere, everybody's on the news. But our things happen that are, and these were tragic, deadly things
Oh,
that
yes.
happened. Okay, this guy died at the gas station. I had to ask around to find out if he died. My son stopped and helped. He was a first responder because the ambulance wasn't
Right.
there yet. Neither were the police. And my son stopped with his friends to help those guys right there to get one of the guys out. The other ones were trapped in the car, and they had to cut it open. And they had to cut it open. The knife, jaws of light. Nothing was reported.
But
about
I
this.
will
And
definitely,
it's not right.
I'll definitely make sure that LAPD is present at our next General Police Stakeholders meeting.
Beautiful.
Mark, did you have, hold on, sir. Mark, did you have anything that you wanted to?
Yeah, I want a couple of things to be put on the agenda for the meeting. One is, let me see, 2 minutes time. One is the expenditures that Molly Lynn Taylor is requesting, all the expenditures to be looked into. That's
Yes, sir.
one. The second is to check to see if there's a conflict of interest with our treasurer, Crystal, also being the card holder.
Yes, sir.
Okay, for the neighborhood council. The third is the accountability from Dunn and the city attorney's office to not being able to mediate or resolve any of the internal issues that we have. There's been none whatsoever. There's been no answers whatsoever. It's just been beating a dead horse, and it's a vortex.
Yes,
That's
sir.
all it is.
Yes, sir.
Going
And
nowhere.
And you've sent me these items several times via email to place on the agenda. And what I will do is I will talk with our project coordinator, Thomas Soong, not at this meeting, but at another time, and make sure that we can have those items on the agenda and how the department is intending on
Well, I don't want anything to be on Thomas. Thomas just stepped into this right now.
But nevertheless,
But I mean-
there's that responsibility there, and he knows that. He's aware of it. He's
That's
aware.
why he's here now. But I'm saying before him, everything started way before he even got on board for that position.
You're right, sir. No, you're right.
Okay.
So I'll make sure I connect with the department and make sure those items are on the agenda to be addressed. Okay? Okay, so, Mr. Frobisher, I think you spoke already, so I'm thankful for that. If you have no other public comments or any other official comment, we're going to move forward with the agenda. Okay, so moving on to our reference copy agenda, we're going to start off with welcome and introductions at 7 p.m. Number 2 is the discussion, take action on all of the meeting minutes that have been drafted but not approved. The only one that was approved was the January 13th special meeting, and these items are the secretary's responsibility.
That's what I'm saying, we have to.
And so there's nothing I can do other than keep reminding the secretary to do her job, and or Apple One to also follow up.
Or step down.
Right, now I have received word from Selena that she's connecting with our new Apple One coordinator, Francis, Pollock, to get the meeting minutes for March, or for February, so she's going to be working on that, but that's definitely, we have some issues with regard to, hey Maggie, we definitely have some issues with regard to our meeting minutes going back to, looks like here, actually August was approved, but going back to September, up until present. So I will follow up with her and with Apple One. Let's see here, we're working on item A1, 2, 3 are the same items that we always have on there, and that's the ineligibility to vote, issues with regard to reminding the board members on the ethics and conflicts of interest, and also reminding board members to follow the code of conduct. Item number 4 is the treasurer issues and concerner updates. We have had a request for, as Mr. Quiros has well stated, a request to find out what are the remaining funds available in our on our budget, because we still have people coming in requesting funds, and the Grants and Funding Committee can't make any decisions on what is acceptable funding if we don't know what funds we have. And since funding is no longer a rollover matter, we have to address that immediately before our fiscal year is up. So I have requested from our treasurer to provide us with the remaining funds for the fiscal year 2015-2016. Also, what has been requested is a reconciliation budget from the treasurer. That was requested by the Elections Committee, and the treasurer has been informed of this, so we shall follow up with that with her. Monthly expenditure reports for February, if she has those available, as well as a motion resolution with regard to the more business results invoice, the recent invoice for the $284.28. Moving on, discussion and possible action to approve the request for an MPG of $1,000 for Enrich LA. And item number 6 is, of course, the Avenue 50 studio request for the mural. So those go back on the agenda because the applicant was not present for the board to ask any questions on these 2 items. So they will go back on the agenda since the board did not address them. Item 7 is the MPG request for funding of $169. As you know, the event for the Glasso Park annual cleanup, there was a $169 fee that was paid to the Glasso Park Rec Center that I had to purchase the funding request, the facility.
So you're trying to get paid.
So I'm just trying to get paid back. So that goes back on the agenda. It was discussed at the previous agenda, on the previous meeting. I don't know what the deal was, but we still need to bring it up. I deserve to be paid for my reimbursement.
Did our funding,
Go ahead, of course.
Did our funding team opine on this already?
What they did offer an opinion and stated that they could only issue $1,300 and something because the controller's office has certain criteria, but that criteria has nothing to do with the funding of that facility's permit. That facility's permit was what we needed in order to function at that park, in order to hold that event at that park.
Okay, because I remember it was on your agenda last time.
Yes.
Let me check with funding on that.
Would you please?
Thank you.
And also, we've got item 7, number 8. We have the $400 refreshment request for a holiday tree lighting for 2015. Did you want to keep that for 2015, Mark, or did you want to change to 2016?
For 2015.
Last year.
For last year. Because in 2000 something dollars.
No.
I have the receipt.
So keep it on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he needs his
problem.
money back.
He needs his, you got that right. And then we've got item number 9 is funding of $100 for duplication of the assigned keys. And I presented receipts the last time as well, and we all know that the board requested duplicate copies of keys and clickers, and that was taken out of my pocket to take care of that, and that information, the keys were given to Mr. Quiros to distribute to the executive committee members. So that again is on the agenda. And item number 11, again, are funds for $41 for the duplication of the meeting schedules. As we all know, we don't have a copy machine, so
we need to put that on the agenda. We need to vote on purchasing a copy machine. This place needs it, and it's costing too much money.
I agree, but that's something that the board needs to.
We could pay $3,000 for 2 utility boxes, but we cannot buy a printer. We need to work on that.
I understand. That is that's an issue that has been brought up in front of this board before. And it's one of those issues where the department is willing to work with us, but the board has to act.
That's good.
I do have the items that Mr. Quiros requested. I do have the items that Tony Blanca has requested that will be added on to the agenda as well as the items that Elizabeth has requested be placed on the agenda as well. So is there any other items that the neighborhood council needs to take action on that we have not heard as of yet that need to be added on?
Oh, I have a request.
Yes.
I wanted to know, I'm confused because it seems like the neighborhood council has a process for funding requests, so it seems like it has died. So for example, there's a grants and funding committee.
Yes, ma'am.
And it seems like these grants, when you look at the agendas, it seems like no one goes to the grants and funding committee anymore. But somehow all these funds get approved, but they're skipping a process. So it's not fair. For example, Elizabeth went through the process, and the really sad thing about this neighborhood council is that no one's investigating anything. There's no consequences of anything. I'm actually starting the process to contact the media. I'm going to call Channel 4, Channel 7. I'm sending email requests because it cannot be about 2 individuals.
Right.
It has to be overall community, and there's no freedom of speech here. For example, when we're videotaping, you need to put cameras so everyone's on the video. Okay, and one of the requests, if we have to start lawyering up, because Elizabeth does have a lawyer, I did get a pro bono lawyer, is that we have to have cameras where every single individual is being put on video. So if you're going to put it on YouTube, or you're going to put it on next door, it has to be everyone that's present, not just one, not just 2. If, for example, if Molly agrees, if Molly is asking for a request, we need. Before it was minimized. Now you could ask for anything you want and you get it approved, and no one knows what it's for. There's no breakdown, and somehow she gets it paid. Okay, and then if Bradley asks for something, you want to request. There's no balance here, and no one's on either side. I am not for Bradley. I'm not for Molly at all.
Some of us
I'm for the community.
We're stuck in the middle.
We're for the community, and honestly, there is no process anymore. And I'll be honest with you, for the tree lighting event, and I'll send you the emails. Okay, Barry was on it. Okay, Molly tried to remove the electrical pole from the tree lighting event. Somehow she didn't like the pole and she wanted a certain kind of pole for her. I have no idea why. The tree lighting pole event is not even a GPIA event. It's an event that I originated. Okay, and sometimes because I don't represent either or, yeah, you know what, let them give it kudos, but it's not a GPA event. This year I will not ask the GPA for not even a penny, and their logo will not be on there on the flyer.
Well, we've got 2 more minutes, and I think...
Okay, hold on a second, and I want to know how is it that there is no process being followed, and how is it that money is granted when no process is being followed, but there's no itemization on it.
Right.
Well, I think that just speaking of what Mr. Quiros spoke of earlier, which is this is the items that he wants on the agenda. He wants all of those items that are with regard to the elections and or outreach to be agendized and
Right.
ask for receipts and invoices to validate
There's
and
no
verify.
transparent.
There's no, well, I think
I'm
that's where,
sorry,
I
as
think,
much as you want
well,
to say that you're being transparent, there is no
right, there's
transparent.
definitely, Mr. Quiroz is, and you concur with that, and I'm sure Linda as well does, is that we need to have better transparency with regard
Does
to
somebody
what's.
have the key to that? Because I could show you the transparency when I was a treasurer. I could show you my books. Okay, another thing too. I also want to make sure. I want to go ahead and grievance some of the comments Molly has said. She accused me of breaking something that I have no idea what it is. And another thing too, I want to go ahead. I find it a conflict of interest that Molly has the credit card. She went ahead and had a special meeting. That she was the chair of the special meeting. That she went ahead and made herself the second signature. That she went ahead and now is the credit card holder. And then she's also the president of the Glassell Park Improvement Association, which has no funding whatsoever. So she could buy whatever she wants now, and she could use it for both organizations. And how is not a conflict of interest?
Well, I think that's definitely what we're going to be adding onto the agenda. Those are there's a very valid reasons to add onto the agenda.
Real quick.
And this is not about one person.
Right.
No one has the choice. If somebody else comes and asks for money, she will bite you to the bullet and make sure that no one gets the money.
Well, we did. I just wanted to make sure that Maggie got her points in because I've been receiving emails every day, 3 times a day, with regard to requests.
And it doesn't mean that I love Raleigh, because trust me, I don't. It gets on my nerves.
So, but getting back to this meeting,
It's just that we are all in agreement.
We're
We're trying to communicate and
right.
do what's best for the community, and there's no transparency.
see, yes, and you've made that point, Mr. Quiroz.
And I want to see cameras all over so
Right.
everyone's on the video.
Okay, we
You
got
want to go
it.
through all your agenda items?
Yes, so we're gonna go to the agenda items and move forward. Thank you very much for Maggie.
Okay.
Okay, so those are items that we'll be adding onto the agenda.
Real quick, to step back, okay, and I'm gonna say this because I didn't say it last time. Okay, so hold on, sweetie, hold on. The process, if people are getting irritated from being here and us speaking, that's too bad. What I'm going to say is about me. Okay, there was no due process for myself when Crystal Lynn Orozco and Molly Lynn Taylor challenged me for being the second signer. Okay, Crystal Lynn Orozco wanted to hold me accountable for pretty much doing her work, and it's not my fault that she does not know what she's doing, and that's not what my job is. Then Molly Lynn Taylor challenging me, and now being the second signer, and now Crystal taking the credit card. Dunn did not respond at all, other than the makeshift meeting that they had, the special meeting, that had all sorts of violations, which they did not address. Then the city attorney's office did not address, okay? I'm also seeking some legal advice from some individuals, which I'm not even going to say their name, but they're going to address it because they found that it is a huge violation on the city's part from Dunn and the city attorney. The city attorney does not know how to answer the questions, and they just threw me out there. And before you know it, it was gone. I had no card, no second signer, and they said I did not know how to do my job, when damn it, I was doing my damn job because I try to help hold them accountable to dot all the I's and cross all their T's, and then Dunn tries to punish me for doing a job when they explained to me that funding, everything has got to be certified, approved by the board, and then once the board approves it, it's got to get approved by Dunn. But then once I brought that to their attention, Dunn and the city attorney, everyone backpedaled. Okay, so we got no answers.
And again, these are issues that definitely we can bring onto the agenda.
Dunn and the city attorney could say everything they want, but they never show.
Right, and so this time
I
we're
didn't
gonna.
even know that happened.
Well, let me just say this: we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on with the agenda items because we want to. We'll open it up to further discussion once we get to the agenda items, because then we can at least discuss
And
these
at
items.
the meeting, since it's being recorded, if Molly slanders me one
Now,
more time,
Mr.
I
Quiroz.
guarantee she will be seen an attorney.
Now, Mr.
Okay,
Quiroz.
post that, Brian.
Mr. Quiroz.
Yes, please.
Okay, Mr. Quiroz.
And we're going to start recording, Brian.
We're
You
going
start
to move
bringing the
forward.
camera.
We're going to move forward. So we
And
got.
it's a lot of this
So
stuff.
for
Okay, let's
item
go.
B,
Go for it.
Economic Development and Land Use Committee, I still have these 5 items on the agenda. There are 2 additional land use requests that are being requested to be put onto the agenda from the Economic Development and Land Use Committee Chair.
Should Molly approve it? Because she approves everything anyway.
I will follow up with Andy Montealegre.
How come she's not
With-
here? Because we would like to.
I will follow with Andy Montealegre with regard to these items on the Economic
Oh, real
Development and
quick,
Land Use
Mr. Chair, is there some sort of accountability that the treasurer has not been on one executive meeting from day one?
Would you like to put that on the agenda?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so I'll definitely add that onto the agenda as well. Okay, so we also have item B, 1B, which is the discussion, take action to approve a letter of interest. That's going to still be on there. Grants and Funding Committee, we still have not followed through with the criteria dated for September the 9th. And then the discussion and action on the January 13th meeting minutes. That's still on the agenda. Items D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and K still remain. Those are items that this board did not and has not addressed at any meeting for the since November. So these are items that are still on the agenda. We're going to keep them on the agenda until the board takes action or decides to remove those items. Okay? And then, of course, item I is the adjournment. So, is there any other items other than what has already been discussed and requested to be put on the agenda that anyone would like to add?
Yes, I have a question. I saw next door that the outreach committee of someone representing the neighborhood council outreach posted that they have posted a bunch of signs and stuff like that, and obviously they spent like maybe $10,000 on these signs. I'm surprised they got paid because I never saw any minutes approved, and I did request to have some so I could give some to my neighbors and stuff. So how is it that this individual is representing this community? And I'm a stakeholder, and I can't get one. But where are all these signs? I'm sure there's one here and there, but is it only for that specific person? Because it seems like money is only going to that specific individual.
Well, we'll delve into that after we close this meeting. But we'll close this meeting up. I just wanted to see if there's anybody else that had anything they'd like to add on to the agenda. Okay, go ahead, please.
You guys have a lot going on in your agendas there.
A lot.
But I do need to bring you guys back, okay?
Yes.
Tom Soon with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. So, not new to the department, but I think first time getting to this council. But
well, I want to say thank you to Thomas for you coming.
Thank you.
And you're one of the individuals I'm thankful for because you actually returned my calls. You actually called and you actually addressed the concerns, and that's what we need.
had many phone tags.
That's what we need, seriously, Thomas.
Go ahead,
thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Long story short, just to tone it down a little bit, many years ago we did a how to run effective meetings training. And I was sitting right here. As one of them. I don't know if you guys saw that.
You remember I was here too.
You weren't part of it.
I'm ready.
Oh, not part of that group.
No.
But I was.
Okay, but let's get back to this a little bit. I know there's a lot of with this, as with many neighborhood councils. We have 96 throughout the city of Los Angeles. Many councils have many different personalities, different passions, and many challenges. So let's just say that's where you guys are right now. The challenge right now for you as the executive board, I think right now is how do you guys want to finish strong the next administration, right? Because we have how many more months left?
3.
3 more months, right? And then
it turns over.
Come in. So how do we want to get this done, right? One challenge though is that are you guys fulfilling the mission of neighborhood councils, and also the other challenges is making sure your funding is in place and all spending on that fun stuff as well, right? Well, the reason I bring that up is that there's 2 things that you guys might want to take action on, maybe not at this meeting, but the next meeting. Is that one of the things that we ask neighborhood councils to do is that on their I think the only thing neighborhood councils can do, no other entity can do, is that you guys are advisory bodies. You guys could take positions on city council file motions, what's called community impact statements. And I don't know if you guys done some in the council.
We had over 25 that the board didn't want to take action on, but go ahead.
Okay, so I have 2 right here for you guys. If you guys wanted to, so Brad, I'll leave this with you.
Okay.
The first one just came down the pipe. I'll email the whole region. Is that Councilman Herb Wesson? He's requesting that neighborhood councils agendize discussion action for the March and April meetings regarding the DWP, the reform. So there's a council on file for that already. So take a look at this.
Council file number, sir?
It is council file number 16-0093.
Excellent.
Mark, if you want a copy, I have one for you too.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So if you guys want to take action on that one, let's quickly. You guys get to do that. Okay. The other council file, it's sitting in the one of the committees right now. It hasn't gone through the committees, yeah, but it's the State of Emergency Crisis Center,
Mhm.
talking about the emergency shelters for the homeless, for the homeless shelters. And all here says here's what a yes vote means and what a no vote means. So you can put it on the agenda for this month. You can't get to it, put it on another month.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Those too many things. And
Yes.
yeah.
Is there any other items that you'd like to add, sir? Or
Those are those
before we adjourn, and then we can open it up for any other discussion?
are too many things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Linda, nothing else that you can think of? Any other stakeholders that are here that have anything that they'd like to add? All right, so
I do.
go ahead, please,
I'm
Elizabeth.
sorry. Not only,
Is it something that can't wait until we adjourn, or is it something you'd like to add onto the agenda?
I would like to add it on to.
Okay, that's not the same as what you've already requested to be added on.
No.
Okay.
We live in a very busy intersection,
Mm.
right there on Avenue 36 and Eagle Rock Boulevard. And it's right in front of our business, our daycare business. And there's tons every single day of people crashing,
Mm-hmm.
coming too fast, taking the red light, turning when they're not supposed to. And we've been there 6 years, and I can tell you thousands of accidents have happened. And it's very dangerous right there. I requested for them to put barriers, but they said no, they couldn't do that. Also, a turning signal, they can't do that because there's no money. And I think that area needs to be worked on.
If I may, I will actually develop a draft copy of a council district request to have a traffic study done along that specific corridor, and then bring it to the neighborhood council board to review, so that at least that's specifically on there. And again, we're talking about Avenue 36 and Eagle Rock Boulevard, or are we talking about from Avenue 34, or I'm sorry, Avenue 32 all the way up to Avenue 35 or 36?
No, because 36, okay, there's traffic coming off the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're turning on to Fletcher, and then they're coming, oh yeah, you're right, they're coming down.
I
Yeah,
know
so
what
it's all congested.
Avenue 32
Yeah,
all the way up.
congested right there.
It's basically all the way up to Avenue 36 before they start turning into before they start turning into actually the Cypress Park or Cypress Avenue area.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's too far.
I think
That's
that's
where
what I'm
Fletcher
talking
is.
about right here,
It's
just like
Fletcher.
that, when you're going to go over the bridge, up the freeway
Oh,
bridge,
okay.
up Fletcher, towards Fletcher Drive.
Okay, so we'll
That's
look-
all we got.
Make a right or
Yeah.
or else you're gonna go right
You're
into
gonna
the.
right into the
Your place.
daycare.
You know, we
Right.
get a lot
You're
of,
talking-
we get a lot of
okay.
traffic coming down that way, you know why? Because there's no bus that goes along that from San Fernando Road to come across down there.
Right.
Okay, with that, there should be a dash or something there, because that,
Well, I
that's
think
a
that's one of
very
the items
bad-
on the agenda.
Okay.
is that
it's-
there's a
it's
new dash
very
route being
neglected
considered.
area over there where I'm representing.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Okay, so I'd like to adjourn the meeting. We have a pretty full agenda. That's going to be
How many items is that?
it's a lot. It's over. I've already added up. It's over about 18 to 19 items. So, but that's okay. We love to discuss items on our agendas. Just makes our meetings
Not
so wonderful.
repetitious.
Now that the meeting has adjourned, I would like to open up any further discussion on any other items or issues that Thomas Soong is here to hear, if at all possible. I know one of the items, I've been getting a lot of emails, is the issues of funding.
Right.
As Mr. Soong knows, there were 2 MPGs that the governing board approved, and the Grants and Funding Committee submitted the governing board's approval of the grants and funding requests with the funding request forms and the board vote count forms.
Mm-hmm.
That information was submitted to our treasurer, and it's been going back and forth, but the fact of the matter is that the documentation was complete.
Today.
It was complete beforehand, but it was complete. And we're still waiting for the treasurer and the second signature to sign them. Now, mind you, if we had the previous second signature, we would have just taken it to him and he would have signed it. But he's no longer the second signatory. So the treasurer is possibly what is thwarting the process. Not to say that this can't be fixed, but the fact of the matter is that when the governing board takes an action and makes a decision, it's up to the treasurer to follow through.
Yeah, there's no need for approval of minutes.
Of course, I know that.
So
that's why the forms were revised to reflect that.
So once the action is taken by the board, there's no need to review for draft minutes or approve minutes. That's the whole point of having the board vote for.
Yes, sir.
So then you guys get the form turned in. Now, what was sent to us was I think you were referring to the box, the 2 box MPGs, the 2 boxes. So that's something else. Something on Mahara, Sinclair. That's different, sir. That's the municipal boxes, sir. That is a separate issue.
Okay. That should have been paid, as you already know, months ago.
Okay, so for that one, what I know is that you guys agendized it at your last meeting and it was approved, right? And so all we need is a funding request form, and then we're good to get it paid.
Oh, I understand the process, sir. We had a very thorough funding training, and they were very clear on how we need to do these things.
Okay, so now today, regarding the MPGs, it's like
the MPG for the Glassell Park Rec Center, Easter Egg Extravaganza, and also the MPG for the Environmental Sciences and Technology. What's that called? The Community Garden?
Yes.
The Community Garden. Those were approved. The Grants and Funding Committee completed the funding request form, the updated and corrected ones a week ago, as well as the board vote count forms.
Okay.
We're not required to do that. That's actually the treasurer's job and the second signatory, but we try to help out.
Yes.
And so we did forward them. Unfortunately, there's been this back and forth tagging stuff.
Yes.
That's really not cool, but that's okay because some people need.
I'm saying if you guys have it today, I'll take it.
I wish we did, sir, but we don't have our treasurer here, and our treasurer doesn't come to the executive committee meetings.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate, but we need to start serving the needs of the public.
How many lately has the secretary been to?
The secretary's actually been to all meetings except 2. One of them because she was sick, and the other one was because her son was.
Yeah.
We've had 8 meetings in the last since this new committee has taken over, and our church has only been to 1. So the thing being is that we expect you to have some excuses, and we expect you to have some absences, but you got to learn to be here if you're going to work with us. And so I think the thing being is that we do the best we can. We, as officers, can't. As you know, we can't usurp ourselves on the treasurer because that has its own rules and responsibilities. And then secondly, we don't believe in being dictatorial to the treasurer. So we try to do what we can to assist. If she needs help or assistance, we're here for her. My thing is specifically is when applicants request funds and governing boards act, that's up to the treasurer to do that job, just to act.
So here's my kind of, I need some clarification here then, is that we're talking about processes here, okay? So then one process we're talking about is that the treasurer has, and this is not to pick on any board.
Right.
The treasurer has missed attendance of these meetings at the executive committee level.
Yes, sir.
We know that in the bylaws that if any board member misses consecutive meetings, right?
Any committee meetings, sir.
No. I'm saying any meetings.
Meetings.
In your bylaws, any meetings, right? In your bylaws, it states that there'll be grounds for absences,
yes, sir.
etc. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I read that.
Do you guys have in your bylaws? Do you have expectations for committee attendance?
Yes, we do. But keep in mind is even if this board takes an action, no one's going to be accountable at the department level or at the city attorney's office level. We've had this before. And so it's a huge struggle for us because, again, we're requested to follow bylaws and city attorney requirements and Brown Act requirements. But if there's no substance, if there's no teeth to it, then we really are just out there on our own.
Right. Just as what some other councils have done, and this is not as a best practice for so that they'll have standing rules, in there that says that if you miss XYZ committee, it might be grounds for kind of a change of position. Not removal from the board, but removal from etc.
We have that.
I know that happened last month. Yes. But with that being said, now in terms of with the treasurer and the second secretary,
Yes, sir.
they're supposed to they serve at the
Whim of the board. Let's be honest about it.
right, not the whim, but the will.
Well, yes.
Right. So in terms of your own process, so a lot of these are your processes. If your own process is that grants, MPGs, has to go before this neighborhood purpose grant committee.
No, there's actually grants and funding committee.
Okay.
The committees, as you know, vet most of the board's work as they're supposed to.
Right.
And when the committee establishes a recommendation for approval or denial, all that goes to the board anyhow, because we don't take any actions, as you know, we just make recommendations. The board takes an action. That action is, if it's a funding matter, should be followed up through the treasurer with no questions, and just providing what is the funding requirements in order to get items processed.
Right.
That's the problem. That's the process. That's
So what's the challenge then?
the challenge is that somebody may need to have a more funding training. Because see, I understand what the funding training is because we had an excellent funding training from Mario.
Okay.
And so he made it very clear what our jobs, duties, roles, and responsibilities were.
Okay, but what happened? I'm kind of disconnected here. What happened here?
Well, I can say in seconds. There was a funding request submittal from the Plaza Community Center. That's a 501c3. The Grants and Funding Committee approved that funding request from the Community Plaza Center.
Okay.
It went to the governing board. The governing board felt that there may have been a conflict because where the funds may be going to the Burgueño Family Center that Mr. Quiros' child went to. Now mind you, sir, the Burgueño Family Center did not file the application. The Community Plaza Center filed the application. And so unfortunately, the department did not address it and sent it to the city attorney's office, and the city attorney's office made a snap decision that it was the fault of the Burgueño Family Center in lieu of looking at the Plaza Community Center, which is the primary applicant that should have been decided upon.
That was post.
So this wasn't a treasury issue.
No, sir. It got involved with the treasure issue when my understanding as the chair, because I was informed by the funding coordinators that there were calls in to the department on clarification of who was going to be getting the funds and how that was a conflict of interest. And my answer was always and will always be, it was the community plazas, the Plaza Community Center that submitted the NPG request. The decision should have always been made with regard to the Community Plaza Center, Plaza Community Center, not the school. Because the school may get the funds or may not get the funds. But knowing that this could be an ethics issue, Mr. Quiros did actually excuse himself out of the meeting as he was requested to do by a stakeholder. And when the item came up for agenda and it was discussed and action taken, Mr. Quiros was in another room that he had no decision-making capacity, had no input on it whatsoever. But again, the fact of the matter is that the Plaza Community Center was what the Grants and Funding Committee approved and for what the governing board was discussing.
This is the one that the city attorney opined on.
Yes,
so
correct.
They're saying that because you have maybe a child that goes to that school, you can't take this action. You can't vote on this anymore.
But sir, do you understand? Is that wasn't the school that submitted the application or NPG? It was the Plaza Community Center.
Okay, so that's like.
Which is a nonprofit organization.
Which is a separate issue than the school. And see, it's for some reason we're not quite getting the idea that the Plaza Community Center submitted the MPG. The Plaza Community Center got the approval of the Grants and Funding Committee. The Plaza Community Center submitted all of their required elements.
That's you guys.
No, that's not them.
She's the Burgueño.
That's not them.
Through them.
But they keep being brought up as the reasons why the.
Okay, you're the school.
Yes.
Okay, where's the? Okay, they're not here today.
No, they're not here. Because this is the problem, is that they keep trying to they keep trying to direct the decision of the city attorney's office and the department at the Family Burgueño Center. They had nothing to do with it. This was a funding grant for the Plaza Community Center, and it should have been judged on the Plaza Community Center.
And the funding was granted.
At the Grants and Funding Committee level.
Well, no, even at the
And the board also approved the funds
But I have
for the Plaza Community Center. But somehow, between the board approving it and the opinion of the city attorney's office, it went from the Plaza Community Center to the Family Burgueño Center, which should have never have gotten to that point. And we advocated, the board leaders, the board officers advocated and contacted the department and said, this is not acceptable, this is not appropriate because it's the Plaza Community Center. Why are you targeting or why are you addressing?
So this is the one the city attorney, I'm not taking sides.
Right. You can't take sides anyhow, but yeah.
But this is the one that they opined on.
Yes.
So right now, this is because, so if you have a kid who goes to that school, generally, then you can't.
Oh, absolutely. General opinion is great, but see again, on this specific item,
No.
they used, that they.
Did the board approve it at the board level?
Of course
Yes.
they did. And so the funds should have been released to the Plaza Community Center. But between the funding being submitted and the opinion of the city attorney's office, somehow it got circumvented from the Plaza Community Center to the Family Burgueño Center.
Okay, so it should have gone to the Plaza
Community Center. That's correct, because that's what the application was for.
Okay, then how did you guys get connected?
Well, isn't that amazing? Yeah. It was stated internally that there were questions raised by board members, one or two board members, and the treasurer as to why the Burgueño Family Center should be funded by the Plaza Community Center, and that would be a conflict of interest. But the fact of the matter is that that's irrelevant.
Who was the young lady before Thomas? What was her name?
That was Lizette?
No. The girl from Dunn that was helping us. What was her name?
Oh, that was Jessica Pua. Mm-hmm.
Jessica Pua specifically told me that it was an issue, and I kept on asking questions. And then at one time during a conversation, she told me it was brought to her attention by Crystal and by Molly that my kid attends this place. And I said, yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
Attends this place.
Yes, but not the Plaza Community Center.
And I said, okay, so what's the problem? And then that's when it started a whole ripple effect. And then that's when they took it from Burgueño, which wasn't Burgueño, which should have been Plaza, okay? And Burgueño is under the umbrella of Plaza. And by them doing such, it was just me, focus on me and Burgueño childcare. That's it, nothing else. And I said, okay, well, wait a minute, if that's the case, okay, Molly Lynn Taylor has a kid that requested funding.
But a separate issue, Mark, let's not get into that.
Well, I'm saying that goes to a child, Glassell Park Early Education.
But allow me. The Plaza Community Center is an umbrella for funding for different groups and organizations.
Like United Way.
You know that, of course.
Yeah, but
So the Plaza Community Center should have been granted the funds and judged on its applicable status. That's not what happened.
It'd be different if, once again, I'll take this back. It'd be different if you were on the board of the neighborhood council and you voted for the monies. You understand? Because you're a board who has a direct interest.
Of course.
but
But she had nothing to do with it.
Saying,
and so this is the problem that arose. And for some reason, again, is we have these issues come up. And the department can't get involved. I understand how this works. I know how this works. I helped develop half the shit that's already there. Excuse my language, ladies. But the fact of the matter is that when there are these types of differences, there has to be some intervention and some clarity. And we're not getting much attention or traction because, there's personality issues involved, and the department does not at all get involved in issues of personality. They stay away from it, they will object to it and everything. So we've got some treasurer issues and we've got some personality issues at the board level. We have tried to have board training, but we can't seem to get the majority of the
We're
board.
not united at all.
You don't have to be united, you could disagree to agree.
No, but I mean, it's just like everything against this one and against this.
Everyone's just attacking everyone.
Hold on, Maggie, hold on.
So there's two. So this is one grant. You said there's two MPGs.
Well, there's two MPGs. That's one specific to what you were requesting.
Okay.
The other two have to do with, again, board took action. They should have already been there. I personally think that there's a misunderstanding on how the funding program works. And I have said this from Jumpstart, why go through these trainings? Because the department provides excellent training. In fact, I was impressed. And it doesn't take much from me. So I was even impressed. And that the process should have been followed. There should be no question with regard to who's doing what, why is this being involved. You've been privy to the emails. You should have never had that many emails in the first place, and I do apologize, but you've been privy to the emails. The treasurer's job is to submit the documents that the governing board has approved. Let the department come back with any corrections or issues, because that's what their job is. If there are issues or items or concerns that are outside of that funding request, you bring it back to the governing board to discuss. But in the meantime, you submit that documentation because that's what the governing board requested you to do and approve. So that's where we are at now with those two MPGs.
So these two are not going to come up before the agenda again.
They don't need to because
all I have is Plaza Community Center. What's the other one?
The other one is you've got the Plaza Community Center, which is something that was previously done and won't be brought up again. Well, actually, it was going to have to be because she asked for it to be brought up on the agenda. We don't deny. As second,
it was approved already.
I know. Yes, sir. I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
And we'll discuss that offline. But the other two that you've been privy to is the Environmental Sciences and Technology School for up to $3,500 and the Glassell Park Rec Center, which is up to $500. Those are the two for which today and yesterday and last week that you were involved in. I don't know why it's being sent to Janet because the department is very clear. Do not send anything to the department. You're supposed to send it to funding at Empower LA. So I don't know why these things are not followed through.
Right. So hopefully by tomorrow it'll be followed.
Well, let's hope so.
Right.
All I can do is ask that we try to follow the procedures and process for which the department has established for us. But other than that, I can't do anything more.
I have a comment and a concern. Another thing that I would like to ask is, from this fiscal year, no one has gotten any funding for any project, nor schools, anything. But which I also think is a conflict of interest because Molly is the chair of the outreach committee. She's the only one that has gotten funding for anything and everything. And no one can say anything. There's nothing. There's no transparent. How does that benefit our community? Okay. Another thing too, because like I said, co-founder and for 11 years. Whether I remember that we did an event. Somebody wanted the tent to be blue. People wanted purple. At the end of the day, it got voted. It was green. As a treasurer, I went ahead and paid it. I followed the process. I got all the minutes. I got the approval. Everything was fine. But what's happening is here that you have Molly Taylor, okay, and she doesn't agree to it. She'll go beyond. She'll go to whoever she has to go to make sure that her point is across. That's not due process because you know what? The process is that it got voted, it got approved. You know what? This organization got it. We have always had educational reps. Okay, on the educational reps, when Mira Magana was the educational rep, we bought bookcases for the library, and I know this for a fact. All the receipts are in that office. I don't have key to it. So then we approved $3,000. Some people didn't want to. Art Camarillo was so against it. At the end of the day, it got approved. Okay, I was the treasurer. I was there, got the agenda, I followed the paper trail, submitted it to Dunn, to Steve O at that point, and then at that, it wasn't.
That's a while ago.
I know that's a while
I
ago.
was a
gonna say the
treasurer
same
for a
thing.
long time. I was the first treasurer in the whole city of LA to pay the first project, and I had like I think 22 projects under my belt. So what I'm trying to say is that personal opinions basically what Molly has done is attack. She's attacking. Hey, your Mark Hero's child goes there. I don't want it to get paid. You don't do that.
Well, let me just say this also. There's just one thing I want to close up with, and we're all about transparency. The department must always maintain transparency because it's public funds. There have been, since in the last 8 months to a year, projects that are being approved and events that are being events that are being staged, but the board does not get any receipts, any invoices, any proposals to this date. We have never gotten one bank statement. We've never gotten one receipt. Not one. The only person who sends invoices is More Business Results, who does our website. But any other items, sir, we don't get any receipts for. The board doesn't have any input on these things. And that's a problem because I don't know how the department's able to pay these things.
Yeah, what's your let me give you the kind of like the little rundown of what I know. Right? We see on your agendas, like the last agenda, right? You have funding for up to this amount, approved. Up to this amount, funding request comes in, right? We don't go and check and see the quality or the design or.
It used to be. It was
right. It used to be.
dissected
No, right. You're right. No,
it was like
right. Right. No, Maggie.
Maggie, you remember Maggie? I know you remember Maggie.
But Maggie's right. Back in the days, she was right. Before anything was approved, we see it. We did the paper, everything, right? Now it's just kind of help streamline things. We're under the assumption that look, if your board, if we get a funding request form, let's say for a newsletter, okay, the board approved funding for this. That means your board approved that. We don't go and check and review. One would think, right? Your board will see the contents of that, and that's why I was hoping that that's something more of an internal process that you guys can kind of figure out.
But at the same time, Tom, is if the board hasn't been provided with the opportunity to view the content, the newsletter is a very good issue. We have never had an opportunity to view any of the outreach material. Remember, there's 15 board members. 15 board members.
I hear you.
And so I'm trying to figure out, okay, so the board approved funds for distribution, but that's not the same as saying that the board approved the newsletter and its content.
Right, so for us, so the copies of the newsletter and whatever it was, right? I'm just saying from what we're looking at now, things have changed from, to help streamline things. So one suggestion maybe, Riley, is for your board to come up with some more tight rules.
We have them, sir.
We try.
But the thing is, though, but wait a minute, it's a two-phase thing.
Who's going to hold the
Hold on, Riley,
violation?
give me a moment.
Nobody.
But hold on a second. But what has happened now is that it's interesting that you know that. So Molly knows the process. Hey, you know what? I could get away with this because I work at Dunn, and you know what? That's fine. So that's what she's doing. Hold on a second. But the funny thing is, an organization, a school comes and asks for funding, and she will kill it to the end. Even though everyone approves it, she will go to whoever she has to go, because that's what she did to remove the DWP poll. She actually went to management. They told her,
well, that was
anyway,
you
but
weren't
that's
around
what she
for that.
does. She'll go to wherever she has to go to turn it around.
But
She turns it around the due process, and only her
But with
stuff gets
regard to the newsletter, that's another issue. I mean, we have minutes since 2004 that show that our newsletters are approved by the board before they go out. But for some reason, we can't seem to get the Outreach and Communications Committee to front us the newsletter of what's going on about what we're doing as a board. We don't know what message is being disseminated.